The doors to the Viridian Tea House are open once more. Hello, everyone. Good to see you again. I almost took a minute here. Wow, I can't believe it's already February. It just feels like January just flew by us, and now we're on our second month of 2025. So no news except I recently celebrated a birthday. I'm now 51 years old, and can't believe it though. I remember when I turned 50 last year that I felt this disturbance in the force, but now it's just kind of a calm. I woke up to see a new day. Let's see what I can make of it. So, I've got some really great books to talk about. Many thanks to Denver Public Library for having all three of these books. Plus, I've got a tea blend to talk about and meditation. So, let's do this. So, the first book, I had never heard of the author before, and I just happened to see it in the shelf, and I thought, okay, this sounds interesting. It's amazing what an author can do in 120 pages. This is January by Sara Gallardo, an Argentinian writer. So let me read the dust jacket for you. All things been to Nefer, a 16-year-old girl living among a community of farmers in the Argentine countryside. Reeds nod when she digs her heels into her horse. Unripe peaches snap and fall as she gallops past. Nefer measures the distance between her body and the table and feels something filling her up, turning against her. Nefer's belly swells. She visits a medicine woman but is afraid to explain why she's there. She attends confession but cannot confide in the priest. We feel the expanse of the Argentine pampas around her, the drip of sweat and blinding sunlight, the persistent pull of the Catholic mission on her rural community. In fewer than 120 pages, Gallardo exposes the effects of a patriarchal social system and political regime through the mind of a young woman whose life has been curtailed by forces beyond her control. Francis Riddle and Maureen Shaughnessy's translation transports the searching, revelatory voice of the original. And about the author, Sara Gallardo was born in Buenos Aires in 1931. She was 27 years old when she published her powerful debut, January. And by the time she died in 1988, she had published more than a dozen books, including collections of short stories and essays. January is considered required reading across Argentina. And about the translators, Francis Riddle has translated Isabel Allende, Leila Guerrero, and Maria Fernanda Ampuero. Her translation of Claudia Piñero's Elena Knows was shortlisted for the 2022 International Booker Prize. Maureen Shaughnessy has translated Ebe Uhart, Belén López Piero, and Nurit Kazelslan. I hope I pronounced that right. Please forgive me. Her translation of Uhart's The Scent of Buenos Aires was a finalist for the 2020 PEN Translation Prize. In less than 120 pages, I was transported to the Argentine countryside to stand witness to a young woman who has a choice to make, but she's so afraid to do it. She wants to be free and at the same time can still feel the chains, not only from her religion, also from her family and her choices made. This was one of the most powerful books I've ever read in my life. And actually, one of my goals for 2025 is to read more world literature. There's so many authors out there that need to be read and recognized and adored. And Sara Gallardo is one of them. You feel as though you're right there with Nefer. You feel it. You cannot look away. You can't turn around and say, oh, okay, well, that was really nice. She draws you into her story and says, here's my side of it. You're gonna see everybody else's side. I'm not gonna lie to you, but here is my side. And maybe you'll understand why I feel the way that I feel. So Sara Gallardo's January does receive 5 pots of excellent tea. I truly enjoyed that book. And I've always said it in these videos. Every time I go to the library, I never know what I'm going to find. And sometimes it can be the smallest book that just packs such a punch, or a book that's like 800 pages, like Where Tigers Are at Home, that I just rant and rave about, that drew me in. So she was a masterful storyteller, and I really want to add her to my list of not only authors that I want to read, but authors that I want to collect. Very much so. So many thanks to the spirit of Sara Gallardo. Thank you so much. So the next book goes in a completely different direction, but I've read this author before, and when it dawned on me, I was like, oh, I know I'm gonna love this. So this is What the Chicken Knows by Sara Montgomery. So let me read the back of it, the dust jacket for you. For more than 2 decades, Sara Montgomery, author of National Book Award finalist The Soul of an Octopus, which I did read. Even if you're not into studying about octopuses, you really need to read that book because it's quite touching, has kept a flock of chickens in her backyard. In this delightful book, Sara takes us inside the flock and reveals all the things that make chickens such remarkable creatures. Only hours after leaving the egg, they are able to walk, run, and peck. Relationships are important to them, and the average chicken can recognize more than 100 other chickens. They remember the past and anticipate the future, and they communicate specific information through at least 24 distinct calls. Visitors to her home are astonished by all of this, but for Sara, what's more astonishing is how little most people know about chickens, especially considering that there are about 20% more chickens on Earth than people. With a winning combination of personal narrative and science, and including 16 pages of color photographs, What the Chicken Knows will change the way you think about this most familiar of birds. And about the author. She is a naturalist, adventurer, and author of more than 30 acclaimed books of nonfiction for adults and children, including The Hummingbird's Gift, which I think I read that too and I really liked it, The Hawk's Way, the National Book Award finalist The Soul of an Octopus, and more recently Of Time and Turtles, which was a New York Times bestseller. She lives in New Hampshire with her husband, writer Howard Mansfield, and a border collie. So let me just be honest with you. I just don't think of chickens. I really don't. Until recently, about 4-something years ago, when I met my boyfriend's daughter, who is a chicken mother. And she has silkies, especially, oh my God, this one black rooster named Sligathor, just lovely. And I thought, really? Chickens? I mean, chickens? I was wrong. I was very wrong. Learning through both his daughter and also reading this book, I have so much more appreciation for the chicken. And I wonder what would happen if more people read this book or took the time to actually learn about chickens. You know, it's not just KFC. It's not just Popeyes. They're more than that. They really are. And I love the photographs in this book as well. You feel like the chickens are not just dumb animals, because they're not. They're not. They're far from it. And in just this slender little book, just like with January, I learned so much, and I resonated with Sara as she talked with other chicken lovers and mothers and fathers, and about the chickens themselves. You know, they have personalities, they have intellect. I could go on and on, but this, even if you're not interested in chickens, but you just want to read a really good nonfiction book that takes you out of the chaos in our world today, What the Chicken Knows is a book you need to look for and read. You'll probably read this in about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, but it does receive 5 pots of excellent tea. And Chelsea, if you're watching this, thank you so much for being the person that just kind of started my whole interest in learning more about chickens. So Chelsea and Luke, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I can't wait to see Sligathor again. All right, and now the third book is completely different than the other two. But once again, this is an author that I'd never heard of before, but thanks to Denver Public Library, I learned about her and I went, oh yes, I want to read more of your work. And this is The Unbecoming of Margaret Wolfe by Issa Arsen. Sorry about the glare. So let me read the dust jacket for you. Let's see. Two Shakespearean actors in an unconventional marriage get caught up in a renowned director's scheme, which will bring them closer than ever or rip them apart for good. Up-and-coming stage actress Margaret Showard has just taken a bow as Lady Macbeth, the role she has always believed was destined for her. At home, she plays wife to her best friend, Wesley, even if she doesn't hold his sole attention romantically. After a public breakdown threatens all she holds dear, Margaret's doctor prescribes her uppers, just a little help to get through the days. When Wesley is invited by eccentric director Von Klein to join the cast for an inaugural Shakespeare performance in the New Mexico desert, Margaret decides to accompany him in hopes the time away will set her back to rights. But the world she finds in Von's company is filled with duplicity and betrayal. Margaret and Wesley, embroiled in an affair with a man who may not be all he seems, must find a way forward together before their story becomes the real tragedy. And about the author, she is a certified bleeding heart and narrative designer based in South Texas, where she lives with her spouse and a comically small dog. And you can find her on Instagram too. So let me just say this, the way that she writes this story, the first thing I thought of, and I'm continuing to be like, yeah, this is true. She reminds me of Patricia Highsmith. If you're not familiar with Patricia Highsmith, she wrote The Talented Mr. Ripley, The Price of Salt, Carol, which was turned into a movie. But yes, and Strangers on a Train too, plus other books. You just need to check her out. The tense, slow burn that you can't look away from, because you know that if you look away for just a moment, you're gonna miss something really important. Just like the other two books, I was transported to 1950s New York and New Mexico, and there's a lot of passion in this book. There's a lot of sex and control and drugs and drinking and acting and Shakespeare and madness. And a little bit of redemption and a twist that I honestly did not see coming. When it happened, I went, hold up, wait, what just happened again? What? And then I thought, of course, duh, of course that was gonna happen. If you're into a sleek thriller set 50s, 60s, The Unbecoming of Margaret Wolfe is the book you need to read. I fell in love with the characters, specifically the love that Margaret and Wesley have for each other, even though Margaret doesn't hold Wesley's attention romantically, like the dust jacket says. You can still feel the love. And when the third person comes along, you're like, this is not good. And no, it's not good. But again, you can't help but just watch it as though you're watching some reality show just unfold before you, and you're thinking, oh my God, I need more popcorn for this. But this was an incredible, tense, stylish thriller. And at the very end, out of all of this mess, there is redemption, and there is a sense of setting things to right. So, The Unbecoming of Margaret Wolfe does receive, trifecta here, 5 pots of excellent tea from Viridian Tea House. I just have to say, all 3 of these books that I've reviewed, I thoroughly enjoyed reading them for various reasons. But yes, all 3 of those books were found at the Denver Public Library, so check them out at your library, either through ebook or tangible book. But yes, check out those 3 books because you will not be disappointed with any of them. And now moving to the tea portion. No tea review today, but I am going to talk about one of my blends, which is recently back in stock, my Mathematical Blend 3.14159 which is sencha green tea, orange peel, ginger, and juniper berry. This blend is available in both sampler and regular size through my store, viridianteacompany.com, and I always put the link on the YouTube video so you can check it out. As of right now, so if you don't know, I have about 40 tea blends in my company. Right now, 11 of them are in stock, both in regular and sample sizes. So if this blend is not to your liking, I've got 10 others. So support small businesses today. So from me to you, in my lovely Sakura Dragon mug, a bit of 3.14159, because math is awesome. That's a good blend, and not because I made it. That is a really good blend. So it's very light for me. You obviously get the seaweed vegetal taste of the sencha tea, but it's not so bitter that you're like, oh God, this is disgusting. I'm not really getting the ginger as much. It's like kind of in the back, but I am getting the orange peel and the juniper berry, which is funny because I used to never like juniper berry. I never liked gin until I accidentally had some and thought, wow, that's actually not that bad. So the juniper berry is not strong in this tea. I did use 3 tablespoons in my Brown Betty teapot, and I let it steep for 6 minutes. So this is a well blended tea, and not one of the ingredients is really overpowering the rest. Everybody's kind of playing really well with each other. Yeah, that's excellent. So before I send you on your way, let's do a water or tea breathing meditation. So get yourself to a room where you'll not be disturbed. Find yourself in a comfortable position, either seated, laying down, standing up, or if you're out walking around, just kind of slow down and just kind of not pace yourself. We're just going to focus on our breathing. And if you find yourself getting stuck on a thought, because that's what our minds are supposed to do, you just pause the thought like you're pausing the TV, tell yourself thinking, and allow the thought to go on while you return to the breath. It's just a few seconds to take a break from our busy, crazy, chaotic, messy lives. So if you're ready, let's begin. And now let's end this breathing meditation with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Slowly open your eyes or allow your eyes to come back into focus. And now let's have a sip of your water or tea. It's very delicious, and I'm actually getting more of the ginger as the temperature cools down. So that is all I have for today, and many thanks to these 3 authors once again. Let's see, Arsen for The Unbecoming of Margaret Wolfe, Montgomery for What the Chicken Knows, and Sara Gallardo for January. Please check out these books at your local library or go to a local bookshop and purchase them yourselves, because like I said, you will not be disappointed with any of those books. And as I always say, I thank you for taking the time to watch these videos and to meditate and drink tea with me. Thank you so much. So until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Raise your teacup high. And remember that to drink tea is to enjoy life. I'll see y'all really soon. Bye for now.